I will be presenting about how to identify reportable and also non-reportable segment. So to identify reportable segment, there are two ways. The first one is the 10% thresholds, which it consists quantitative thresholds such as assets and also revenues. The second rule is the 75% rule, which means the total external revenue is at least 75% of the entity's total revenue. So if there is any additional reportable segments that should be identified and added until it meets the minimum requirements from any of the rule such as 10% thresholds. So for non-reportable segment, it is actually segments that do not meet any of the methods of segment reporting. So this is the 10% threshold test that we did on the Drb-Hicom by using the revenue test. So we have 6 segments here, which are automotive, aerospace and defense, postal, banking, services, and also properties. And we have 4 reportable segments and 2 non-reportable segments. So for the reportable segments are automotive, postal, services, and also properties, as they exceed the limit of, like the percentage of total revenue exceeds 10%. So for automotive is 55%, for postal is 11%, for services is 12%, and also for properties is 15%, which means there are 4 reportable segments and 2 non-reportable segments. So this is another test that we did, which is by using the 75% rule that we applied on the total revenue, and as the total should be more or exceed 75%. So we still use the same total for the total revenue, but we did some changes with intersegment revenue to change the revenue from external. So hence, this is the working that we got, which is the external revenue is divided by the total revenue. So 11,470,203.91 is divided with 12,646 and 787 ringgit, and we got 90.7%, which is exceed the 75% rule, and it meets the requirement of the rule. So this is the new segmental report that we have constructed, consists all segments that are reportable and also non-reportable. So overall, we can see the reportable segments are postal, automotive, services, and also properties. And for other segments that are not reportable are aerospace and defense and also banking, which they do not meet any requirements from 10% thresholds and also 75% rule. So this is the new segmental report. As you can see, we have the external revenue, intersegment revenue, and also total revenue, which is part of from the 75% rule. Lastly, I'll be presenting about advantages and also disadvantages of segment reporting. So for the advantages is the first one, there will be more comprehension or understanding regarding the Drb-Hicom or other entities' past performance. In this case, which is Drb-Hicom's past performance. Next, there will be better analysis of the entity's risk and returns. And lastly is stronger and better informed judgment about the company as a whole. So these 3 advantages are actually for the external users and can be for internal users as well. For external users, will be shareholders, inland revenue board. So for disadvantages is it actually requires a long period of time to prepare to publish the segment reporting. It is usually published after an accounting period ended. Next, the data presented in segment reporting may be misinterpreted by external users who do not understand what is segment reporting or what segment reporting actually presents. So lastly is methods that are used by every company or each companies are different to present the segment reporting, such as by using 10% rules and even by using the 10% thresholds rule. There are actually three different ways to present, and also there is also 75% rule. That's all from me. Thank you.
Basis of preparation of interim report. There are two bases of preparation, which are integral method and discrete method. For integral method, interim report is a fraction of the annual report. The interim statements are viewed as part of a larger time frame. Calculation for using integral method is annual value multiplied by fraction of the reporting period. The annual financial statements should not be different just because of the frequency of interim reporting. For discrete method, interim period is a separate period. The reports are prepared on a periodic basis. Each period must stand on its own as it does not allow subsequent restatements of interim period. Only information at that date is used to make decisions. Next, I will show how to record using integral and discrete method. The situation given on the example is when company incurred marketing expenses in the first quarter of a financial year, but none in the subsequent 3 quarters. By using discrete method, the expenses incurred must be recorded in the first quarter only, as it does not allow subsequent restatements of interim period. But for integral method, the 50,000 expenses incurred must be calculated by using the formula annual value multiplied by fraction of the reporting period. So, each quarter will record 12,500 ringgit for marketing expenses. Accounting policies applied by Drb-Hicom is depreciation method and net realizable value of inventories. The company used depreciation method for their properties, plant and equipment. There are two methods for depreciation, which are straight line method and reducing balance methods. Next, company used net realizable value of inventories for their inventories. There are three methods for net realizable value of inventories, which are first in, first out method, last in, first out method, and weighted average cost method. Type of interim report. Interim financial can be semi-annually, quarterly, or bi-monthly. Interim financial reporting for Drb-Hicom be issued quarterly, so it will have 4 periods. The first quarter start from 1st January 2021 until 31st March 2021. The second quarter start from 1st April 2021 until 30th June 2021. The third quarter start from 1st July 2021 until 30th September 2021. The last quarter start from 1st October 2021 until 31st December 2021.
Now, let's get into the period for the current and comparative of each statement. For the interim report, we choose to discuss on second quarter of the financial period, which ended on 30 June 2021. The first statement is the statement of financial position. The current interim period is as at 30 June 2021, and the current comparative period is as at 30 June 2020. The next statement is statement profit or loss and other comprehensive income. For the current interim period, it is 3 months from April to June 2021, while the comparative is 3 months from April to June 2020. For cumulative current interim period, it is 6 months from January to June 2021, while the comparative period is 6 months from January to June 2020. The next statement is statement of changes in equity. For current interim period, it is 6 months from January to June 2021, while the comparative period is 6 months from January to June 2020. Lastly, statement of cash flow. For current interim period, it is 6 months from January to June 2021, while the comparative period is 6 months from January to June 2020. Now, we have come to the last part of this presentation, which is adjustments. The first situation is on 30 June 2022, one of the factory owned by the Drb-Hicom was damaged by fire and partially damaged. Hence, the Drb-Hicom decided to conduct an impairment test for the factory. The factory was acquired on 1 July 2017, which cost Rm15,750,000 that has a useful life of 20 years. It is the policy of the company to depreciate all its PPE using straight line method on yearly basis. On 30 June 2022, the fair value less cost to sell of the factory were Rm11 million and the value in use of the factory was Rm9,500,000. Since the fair value less cost to sell is more than the value in use of the factory, therefore the recoverable amount is Rm11 million. The formula to calculate impairment loss is carrying amount minus recoverable amount. The carrying amount of the factory is Rm11,812,500 minus recoverable amount of Rm11 million. Thus, impairment loss as at 30 June 2022 is Rm812,500. As shown in the statement of financial position above, the value of PPE before the adjustment is Rm5678014 and after the adjustment has been made is Rm5677201.5. The second situation is on 18 June 2022. It is estimated that Rm21,650,000 cannot be collected by the end of June 2022. It means that the net amount of trade receivable to be reported in the statement of financial position is Rm2,654,195. As shown in the statement of financial position above, the value of account receivable before the adjustment is Rm2,675,545,000 and after the adjustment is Rm2,654,195,000.